Hey, what's going on, movie lovers all over the world? You already know who it is. It's your favorite internet sweaty, your boy Mikey Savage 21, bringing you another movie review. And today I'm going to be looking at the 2017 horror film Annabelle Creation. And this movie review has been a long time coming, as I saw this weeks ago, back when I was sick and I was barely able to speak. So I'm going to ask you guys to do me two things in this review. One, I want you to ignore everything that you see behind you. Ignore that backdrop. That's not the normal backdrop you know guys are going to normally see when I'm doing my on-camera reviews now. And two, you're going to have to forgive me because, again, I did see this movie weeks ago. So I might leave out a few details here and there, but bear with me. I'm going to make sure you guys are well taken care of and you get my thoughts on this. All right. So basically, the movie is directed by David F. Sandberg, and the movie stars Stephanie Sigman, Talitha Bateman, Anthony LaPaglia, and Miranda Otto, with notable mentions from Lulu Wilson, Grace Fulton, and Philippa Coulthard. And basically, this film is about the former toy maker Sam Mullins and his wife Esther, and they basically welcome a nun and 6 orphan girls into their California farmhouse. But years prior, the couple's 7-year-old daughter Annabelle died in a tragic car accident. Soon, terror strikes when one child decides to sneak into a forbidden room that has been locked off, seemingly for years, I might add, and she finds a seemingly innocent doll that appears to have a life of its own. Soon, the doll is terrorizing the girls, or the demon, I should say, is terrorizing the girls, and it sets its sights on the lost girl played by Stephanie Sigman, who unfortunately is plagued with polio. Alright, so besides me stumbling through that whole thing, that's pretty much the premise. Again, we're going to be talking about the origins of Annabelle. Now, I did see the 2014, I think it was 2014 Annabelle movie when it first came out, and I absolutely hated it. I thought it was atrocious. I thought it was the worst thing I had ever seen, but hey, I watched it. I thought it was horrible. This was fantastic, and I think 2017 is the resurgence for forgiving movies, because as you've seen, we have gotten a lot of fantastic horror films. We still gotten some stinkers. The Bye-Bye Man is definitely one of those stinkers, and you still have other films like Wish Upon, which was just a waste of time in my opinion. But hey, I know it has its fans, so I'm not going to rag on those movies too bad. But this year has shown us some great horror movies, and this one can definitely be categorized with that. And it's also in the trend of where you have movies that ultimately failed in the beginning, but then they ultimately ended up working again. Because look at Ouija. When the original Ouija came out, I think it came out around the same time, maybe 2013, maybe 2014. It sucked and it was horrible. And I remember I went and saw it opening night, but we had a director come and he took over the helm and was like, okay, well, you guys know what? I'm going to reimagine Ouija. I'm going to tell the origin story of how the Ouija board came about. Also, coincidentally enough, had Lulu Wilson in it as well. And then now you have Annabelle Creation with David F. Sandberg. After the success of Lights Out, he's been given this. And then the next film we're going to see him in is Shazam, which I am so excited to see what he's going to bring to the table of Shazam. But Lulu Wilson also in this one as well. And this is basically, again, a retelling of Annabelle and her ultimate story and how it all played out. All right. So in terms of the film, I really did enjoy the film. Like, seriously, I thought this was a legit awesome horror film. I thought it was one of the best that I've seen in a very long time. I will say the acting was superb. I thought all the characters did a really fantastic job, especially Stephanie Sigman and Lulu Wilson. Again, to me, I really think that they were able to not only portray what it's like to be a best friend to each other. Again, you have one girl who has polio, and she feels guilty about her leaving her friend behind. Like, sometimes she maybe want to go play with the other girls, but she knows her friend is confined to a wheelchair or can't move as much, so she feels like she's confined to her. And then we just really get this awesome backstory about how they feel like they're inseparable and they cannot be separated no matter what. I think that's a really awesome story. And then when it gets to the end of the film and tragedy ultimately strikes, you can really feel that in Lulu Wilson's character, and then as well as the other orphan girls as well. You can really feel the passion inside them, and you can really feel the hurt and the emotion that this film ultimately brings about. And that's what David F. Sandberg is, I think, good about doing with females in his movies, with Lights Out, for example. I thought he was able to get a really good performance out of everybody in that movie, especially the female lead. And then I think the same thing with this, which is basically an all-female cast, but you have a few males sprinkled in here and there. I think he's going to become one of those horror directors that knows how to tell good horror stories, but also give the women something to do, and also not have them fall into that same stereotypical trope of I'm weak or I fall down for no absolute reason. He gives these women girth and power, kind of like Sigourney Weaver and the Alien franchise, specifically Alien and Aliens, where we really got to see Sigourney Weaver as Ripley just tear into these aliens and become more and more of the badass that we know she is today in the franchise. And I can ultimately say that for Stephanie Sigman, even when it gets towards the end of the film, and I'm not going to go into any spoilers or anything. I'm going to try to keep this non-spoilers, guys. I'm going to keep this non-spoilers. Even though it has been out for a while, I'll still respect the people who have not seen it, who are waiting to see it this weekend since it is coming out. But I like Stephanie Sigman and the transformation she ultimately goes through. She starts out one way, and then towards the end of the film, she turns out another way. But it felt like a natural progression of her character. Same thing with Lulu Wilson. I felt like it was a natural progression of her character. And then that's one of the things that'll segue me into the next thing I want to talk about, is how David F. Sandberg is very good at scaring you when scaring you needs to be scared. And I think he learned this from James Wan. James Wan is also a good horror director where he knows where to scare you. You're not going to get the same stereotypical tropes like you would get with some of your other horror movie directors that are coming up nowadays. I think James Wan has instilled this in David F. Sandberg and Adam Wingard and a lot of the other horror directors that are coming up nowadays that direct these horror films. They know where to put the scares, and they know where to put the false scares. And there's not too many false scares in this movie. If there's a scare coming, it's a scare. In terms of a score, I'm actually going to go really high with this film. I'm actually going to go with a 8.5 out of 10. I think this film reawoken the horror fans and the general fans of the Conjuring cinematic universe. I think it's revitalized it basically and brought it to where it needs to be. So again, my score, I'm going to go with a solid 8.5 out of 10. Again, I might even bump it up as time goes on to a 9 out of 10, because I do think it's in that 8.5, 9 out of 10 range. In terms of how many cups I'm going to give this movie, I'm going to give this movie a solid 6 cups. I think this movie was phenomenal and deserves all the praise that it's getting. Hashtag how many cups. Remember to send your movie reviews to @_moviejava. They turn movie fans into movie critics just like you and me, and we have our opinions validated, and they're retweeted and shared with other movie fans from across the world who also share a love of film and a passion of critiquing all things film. So make sure you go follow them again at movie_java. Also in this video, like I mentioned, Crisp and Foundflix did a really good breakdown, an ending explained of this Annabelle creation. I'm going to link that in the description below. But yeah, that's it, guys. That's it for my review. Thank you so much for checking this out. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and make sure you hit that bell so you can be notified every time I drop a video. We got a lot on the way. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. Please go support me on Patreon as well. I had said I wasn't necessarily going to mention it in the video, but hey guys, if you love this channel and you call this channel home, please go support me on Patreon. It would really help me out. It helps out with video production and everything. It helps me basically get this studio up and running. Everything you see in here basically costs money. It was not free. It wasn't given to me. I haven't gotten to the point where I have people send me stuff for free. So all this stuff came out of my pocket. So yeah, if I need to fix something or make something even better, be nice to have some money. So again, if you call this channel home, please go support me on Patreon. I'm not saying that you have to. If you don't, that's fine. But if you want to, that is so awesome. Again, thank you so much for checking out this review. And as I always say, remember to become a savage, stay a savage, and peace out, y'all. Later.